welcome to Hollywood and Sip. I'm your host, Kat Smith. With me today is Andy Kindler, who is a comedian with a brand new stand-up comedy album out this month, and it's called Hence the Humor. And I'm really excited to talk with you today on video because I talked to you in 2017. No reason for you to remember that. But I kept thinking the whole time that I wished I could see you because I was sure you were gesturing or something. And so then the very first track on your new album was just really funny to me because it was what's it called? Gesturing wildly.
I think.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Well, it's so funny you say that because I remember. I mean, that is something that's like definitely different now with quarantining. Is that I guess we could have done these kind of interviews more before, but I guess I don't think Zoom's not like the reinvention of the wheel, right? It's we've had this technology for a while, but it is kind of cool. It's the part of the quarantine that makes me not want to ever leave my house again because it's so convenient, right? And it's interesting too. I keep thinking like the difference between when people can see you and they can't see you it's a weird thing. Normally, as a comedian, you're always worried how your hair looks, like Gary Shandling, or normally. I don't normally. So when I was gesturing wildly to you in 2017, you couldn't see it. But see, now this is a comedy CD, so ultimately it goes back to the audio. I'm pretending like I'm making a deep philosophical statements.
And I was thinking it's probably easier for you too, because now you could do your whole press tour just from your couch.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling it a press tour. That's the thing I liked. You know what I mean? I remember talking to you. We talked on the phone.
We did.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like I remember that. I remember that. I know that's not a very good way to remember a conversation. I remember it was on the phone.
Well, maybe this will jog your memory. My kids were super excited because I was talking to Chancellor Tootie Tootie.
Yes, and I had a feel. Northern California, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that where you were? Is
Sonoma
that where you
Valley.
are?
Sonoma Valley.
What's the name of the station?
It's KSBY Sonoma.
Yeah, I think it was like a 1-year comedy festival thing from a guy who worked on Portlandia. And so it could have been in relation to that, or it could have been just one of those things where we just had to talk.
Yeah.
I had no album out. I know that.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. You've been in showbiz for almost 30 years, and this is your first album, right?
Well, I appreciate you saying that I've been in show business for 30 years. I've been in it longer, and and some people would say it's not necessarily show business that I'm in, but I accept that. And it is kind of weird. Now, the only proviso, if I knew what that word meant, proviso, is that I did release a DVD. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, I started comedy in a comedy duo in 1984. So between 1984 and 2020, I had one DVD. But this is my first album. I really into Michigan because we had made a DVD before, and it was really a pain because it was hard to cut it. And I actually edited a lot of this. I think I'll say I did all the editing on my own. It's actually between, maybe I'm lying about that, but it's between 2 nights of performances. And I actually, because I have OCD and all these different mental issues, it took me 7 years to release this. And it was because of the quarantine that I did release it, finally. Because
something good comes out of quarantining.
Right, that's true. But I kept delaying. It's a whole long thing with OCD. It's like you have a million different reasons why you're not doing something. I kept saying, I have to have a physical CD. Otherwise, I don't want to release it. Well, now the quarantine made me feel like I don't know if I'll ever stay after it. I don't know if I'll ever do a live show again. And I certainly don't know if I'm going to be staying after it if someone comes up with their germ-filled CD
Yeah.
and has me sign it. I am socially distanced. This is insanitized, this release. So it was really like things all came together and forced me to finally release it. And now people are trapped, right? They have to buy it at some point.
Right.
My plan, finally. I knew if I could create a situation where no one could leave their house, go to a concert, go see the people you really wanted to see, that's when I move in.
And so, where did you film this originally? Or not film it, record it, because it's
Right.
audio. I did know that you did more than one night because you do make a joke about that. You said you had one show already in the can. So,
Yeah, I kept saying, I don't care. I'll edit 70. I said, I'm not going to try and make it look like a miracle. I'll do 75 shows. I think I said I'll double my voice in the studio. It was at the UCB Theater on Franklin. And where is that? It's in LA, but what's that area called? It's not Los Feliz, but it's on Franklin, and I forget.
that's okay.
You know, yeah, but it's kind of Hollywood. And but I think it was 2000. See, I almost thought it was 2012, but I think now I'm safe to say it was 2013. And as I remember, I have a selective memory, as my mother used to say. You have a very convenient memory. But I do remember, that's the thing that was so weird about it. I do remember having so much fun doing this. And at first, they had sent me, I just both nights separately, and that's what kind of like put the kibosh on me and my OCD. And then I'm so happy I ended up doing it this way because it really does comedy album. I don't want to say it's like Seinfeld about nothing, but it really is. I can't even identify 10 bits, 10 jokes from if I listened to it again, I could. But it just seems like the whole thing is me dropping the mic and then complaining about that and then commenting on that and then yelling at the record label and then telling the people to clap more. And then I think I did the narration at the end.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really, what's weird is that it's very strange to be a comedian and really be proud of something and also be proud of the fact that it's out there. And it's like, I know everybody goes here that I wouldn't have my own mansion and I didn't make 55. Everybody wants what they want. Everybody wants everything. I am so happy, Jess, that people can listen to it. And yes, I plan to make $1 million to $2 million like we all do when we make, how much money there is on digital download comedy. When that Spotify money comes rolling in. So I really am proud of it. So it's hard to talk about it because it's almost like, it's hard for me to do my usual shtick.
Because
I feel like it was my thing.
Yeah. Aside from this, you also have been the voice of, is it Mort or Morty on Bob's Burgers?
I was. Why am I saying was? Nothing has happened. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm still on the show.
Okay.
Please, people. It's the voice of Mort, who runs a crematorium. Not a crematorium. See, this is why I don't get more work. He runs a funeral home. Right
They're
next to the
similar.
Yeah, very similar. People think I haven't studied for these roles, but I really haven't. I don't know anything about it. And it's really great. It's been a great thing because some of the same people involved in Bob's Burgers go all the way back to the show Dr. Katz, which was before you were born.
No.
This is my new old guy shtick. You wouldn't remember it. But anyway, that was a great show, Dr. Katz. And then home movies, and then some of the same people, and it was like H. John Benjamin. And so I feel very, very lucky. And also that I picked something that could continue on if we never get out of here. Right?
I do remember Dr. Katz.
My little mic.
I do remember Dr. Katz from when it was originally on. So there's that. But also, do you think maybe they'll just have you guys start recording from home? Have you guys when you film for that show, not film, record again, are you generally in a room together acting off of each other, or do you usually do it solo?
Well, Bob's Burgers has done more like a sitcom than other shows, because Fox, when Fox had The Simpsons had a thing in their contract that Fox couldn't look at the shows because in those days it took a lot longer to animate it, and so they had like a hands-off relationship with the network. So since then, the network tries to be more hands-on. But luckily, it's like this isn't the Fox of Rupert Murdoch. It's just Fox Studios, and so they're very, very nice people. But they would do it like a table. I can't believe I'm saying this. I do like a speech slam the industry on like very nice people. But they do it like a regular sitcom. So there's a table read, and then they go back 5 or 6 days later, the next week, and then they have a session. Now, sometimes the sessions are all the people who live in New York and all the people who live in LA together, kind of. Mm-hmm. But I don't. It's never like it is at the table read, where it's everybody together. But I just spoke to Todd Barry, the very funny Todd Barry, and he said he recorded something for them from his apartment on his regular phone. So I think even they, which you'd think it would be probably pretty safe to go into their studio, I think even they're being very careful and probably are not open,
Right. And just off the top of my head, and I don't know anything about the background of how the show is produced, but I was just thinking in my head, you probably don't have to have brilliant sound quality right now, because they may be working something into the storyline where they're talking to each other on Zoom or something.
Well, I'm thinking right now, and all of the shows will be along the lines of, this is a guy, he's an executive, and he's of a company. They have a lot of Zoom meetings, and so so I think, but it's really kind of interesting, because it's not that interesting. Whenever I say it's interesting, it's not going to be interesting. But the Dr. Katz people, who Jonathan Katz still does a lot of work, and he does audio series. He does. The guy who came up with Dr. Katz is a guy named Tom Snyder, who was kind of a geek guy. Mm-hmm. He came up with a thing and many people are doing it now. I don't know if he invented it, but I record on my end, the people record on their end, and then they send these large files and stuff like that. So they do all of that the current Dr. Katz that way, all audio.
Yeah.
But I think with this show, this is a show that is like living on in syndication. So there would be, unless they really could get like a Zoom theme.
It could happen.
I know, it just seems funny to me that an animated show would have a plot line about not being able to go outside. It's pretty fun.
But it's happening.
Yeah. This is real life, people.
Yeah. Yeah. So in quarantine, are you finding maybe like a whole new album full of comedy sketches you could put together?
Well, at first I thought I would, but very quickly, I already have my quarantine material, because I already was like doing bits, like when I would say, hey, I know there's not a big turnout tonight because it's on purpose. It's my half a house tour. I refuse to sell more than half the tickets. I don't think I've ever done a show that wasn't socially distanced and wasn't even planned. I've never done a show where it had a Kevin Hart feeling, like people are climbing over each other. And I wasn't even planning to keep these people distanced. So, but then you realize there's only about 1 week where you can do those jokes. Like I was like, I don't notice any difference at all with my touring schedule. Joke being I never get booked.
Oh.
So now I have to go back to, the other thing is, if I write 2 or 3 hours about the quarantine, it's not going to last.
Right. Yeah.
Well, wait a second. I'm sorry. It will be good for 2 years. 2 solid years. I'll be doing, hey, what's up with this N95? More like an N93. Who's with me on this? Hey, this looks like this guy's been taking the red hydroxychloroquine pill. What's they say when you take the red pill? What is it?
The red pill or the blue pill?
Yeah,
Is
the
that?
red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah.
It's like I thought it's like a right wing thing, but it started with that. It started with a right wing, like, yeah, you believe in the liberal. I don't know. I could tell. My wife points this out to me that I often start riffing, which is like I think I have some knowledge, and then so disregard everything I said after the first couple of questions at the
Okay,
start
it's
of
all
the
gone.
video.
It's all out.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
trash. It's gone.
Yeah. But I'm sorry. This album's been taken off the market, I guess. Oh, by the way, I only have one explicit. I wasn't trying to be clean, Mr. Clean. There's only one explicit. I don't know if I should be happy or sad. There's only one explicit track.
Huh.
I had to look that up.
That's really funny. I think
I had to look it up. It's a little E next to the thing.
you wanted to be a little edgy.
Yes, that's exactly it. Well, I never think about I do know that because I've done radio, and for years in radio, you would just be always scared of saying the 7 words or whatever. But so I always kind of cleaned it up for that. But my regular act is not filled with a lot of naughty language.
I had a guest on yesterday that's going to air either the same day as your interview or another day, but she actually said, and I'm not going to say it because I am sending this audio to the radio show, but I have to edit her a little bit because she did make one little faux pas, and my initial response was reaching for the dump button. Where's my dump button? And then I had this moment of clarity where, no, I get to edit this.
Yes. I know I've been caught a little bit weird because a lot of things you can say whatever you want. So if I'm doing a podcast, then I don't think about it. So I have a couple. I think I said "goddamn." Oh,
that's okay.
We don't have to worry. You're editing.
Yeah, I'm editing it.
That's right. I think I said "goddamn" on like the Bob and Tom show, and I think there's like a heresy. That's how you know I'm not Lenny Bruce sending a gift basket to the censorship board.
Oh,
with a full apology. That's a word that I never, having grown up Jewish, there's not a lot of energy in that word. But I have got people after shows come up to me, Christian people have been offended by that word.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll edit that one out.
I love that that's the conclusion of this. Yeah. Well, you know what, Andy? Now that we've talked about it, forget the lessons about Lenny Bruce. I'll take it out.
So I love the trivia on IMDb, and I found that apparently people confuse you with a character from WWF, somebody named Jameson.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. That was actually for a long time. I won't say it was a Kindler controversy, but what happened was in the credits of some wrestling thing, my name was put for this guy who played this guy called Jameson, who was the manager of these wrestlers called the Bushwhackers. And so it got online and then somehow got to IMDb and then it got onto Wikipedia. And so it just was kind of a mistake. But then people started thinking I was hiding two things. People thought I was hiding from the credit, which is ridiculous. What am I? Of course. I need more credits. I was Jameson. And then the other thing was Jameson. By the way, I will say that if you want to say anti-Semitism is dead, the only way that you would think that I and this person was the same person is if you think any Semitic-looking person with glasses and a nose is the same person. Because we don't. No, I used to look like Horshack, so I got that. But this guy, no, he started to accuse me of stealing his credits.
No.
He was like, look, I don't know. He was making it like I had taken the credit and was like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I did do a little work.
I'm a little wrestler. I do a little wrestling on the side.
So then I had to have someone on Wikipedia look it through. But if you ever get to see Jameson, you will clearly see that he is not me. But I'll come and get you. I will fight you. I will fight you, Kat. You can't hide.
You can't take
hide.
me. I've got a computer screen.
That just reminded me of, that's true. That's a good defense. That reminded me of how funny it was when Andy Kaufman got the South so angry with the wrestling thing. And he would yell, look, I live in Hollywood, California. I don't know. I know it's people in Kentucky. Oh, I could never have the nerve. I get the crowds that upset, but I'm not trying as much to get them upset.
Right. So the name of the album is Hence the Humor. What does that mean to you, or why was that chosen?
I was at a party, and everybody was very high from legalized weed, although this was before there was legalized weed. So maybe we were all just with each other. So at some point, all the room, and who came in? I can't believe I can't remember, because he's a famous comedian. Leo, you know, Sloven and Allen. Leo Allen of Sloven and Allen walked in, and he goes, I said, what's going on out there? And he goes, this guy said this guy said that, and then everybody started laughing. I said, hence the humor. And then he told me that it would be a good name for a record album, and that's why I did name it that way. But I think if you're looking for more like the metaphor of it, it's basically, there's no real metaphor, but it's basically, that's how I feel a lot as a comic over my career. Do the joke, no laugh. I'm sorry, folks. That was a reference to Huey Lewis, who's a popular recording artist in the 80s. I said this, I said that, hence the humor. So I think it's for that too, because I have had to do a lot of explaining, convincing, cajoling.
I like both reasons. What are some of the topics you cover in your comedy on this particular album?
Well, you know, I come up. The thing is, it's such a weird thing, because I come on and so much of it is based on, there's a weird through line to it where I drop, in the very first line, I drop the mic, comes out of the separated and hits the floor. And so that kind of like that, what I will now call a fortuitous event, I wasn't upset about it at the time, but I decided to pretend to be upset about it. So I started screaming about how horrible, you know, I was yelling at the record company. I said, nice going, AST Records. You know what? I'm going to get someone smaller on the phone. Hey, you know what? There's going to be some changes at AST Records when I get done with you. You two should maybe switch jobs. And it kind of goes like that all the way through. And I think my favorite part is that I narrate people at the end. I pretend as if I'm narrating Woodstock at the end. And the people they are raising up. They are coming towards the stage. They have chosen me as their leader. And so it really is all me just saying something, talking about it, analyzing it, and then talking about the fact that I'm putting it's an album. It's an album. So there's a lot of stuff up. They don't see this at home, Andy. They don't see, because the reason why I want to do an album was I have these notes. Well, I don't have the cards with me now. I have these notes. So I have no memory. So like even when you asked me a second ago, you said, what are some of the bits? All of a sudden, what are the bits?
What are they?
What are they? So I had notes with me that night. I said, this is the only reason. This is why I wanted to make an album, so I could look at notes. And then I took that theme to say, Andy, they don't see the microphone stand at home. Andy. So I was playing like an executive in my head who was yelling at me about how my comedy was not working if you can't see it. So, and that theme, and so also the theme, like for example, right now, you could say, we hit a lull. So I have that on my album too. We officially hit a lull. So if you like somebody who can't stop talking about themselves, that's what you're looking for. And I'm not talking about, it's not Trump-like. I'm not.
No, not at all like that.
But I also, for the listeners' convenience, because it was 2013, I purposefully put future jokes in there. Future jokes. So I have a joke. I say, "That's a nice shirt, sir. How'd you pay for that? With Bitcoin?" Boom. Now it's 2020. The only mistake I made was I said, "Nice going, President Boehner."
Well, I know we're in a weird time, but do you have any idea of what's coming up next for you? Do you have plans for some new project or?
Yeah, I've been uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a second. No, I'll be okay. It says I went into low power mode, but can you see me?
I can see you.
Yeah. I have been thinking, everyone is, people are doing things on Instagram. They're doing like live shows on Instagram. So I have a friend, her name is Megan Keister. She's a hilarious comedian. And I've always said that like I'm kind of her father because she's like she told me, I'm not making this up. She said, she came up to me. She was maybe 7 years old. She was a foot tall. And she had a wise guy attitude. No, but she was maybe like, I don't know how old she was, but she said that I was her favorite comedian. That I noticed that she didn't take my act, but it's somehow genetically been passed on to her. And she complains about show business more than me. So I'm thinking about doing an Instagram show where it's just me and her once a week complaining. But I might be could be exciting, is I might be doing the Montreal speech that I do every year about comedy. I might be
doing
the State
of Comedy address.
I might be doing it just from my home, and then they could distribute it out somehow. So, like every other thing, sounds like it could bomb because no one will be there to laugh.
Oh, that is hard, though. Can you imagine putting on a comedy show and now you really do just have crickets because you have to guess whether or not they're laughing at your joke?
That is exactly right. But who better? Who better than the man who has had crickets? Who better than the man who often gets no laughs when the room is full? When the room is full.
Well, I think you are funny.
I think I could pull it off.
I think you are funny, Andy Kindler, and your new album is Hence the Humor. And where can people find out more about you, find the CD or the download or social media?
Well, I'm on Twitter too much, but I just joined Instagram, which has been like, what am I, 90 years old? And but I have a podcast. It's called Thought Spiral with J. Elvis Weinstein, who used to be on Mystery Science Theater 3000. And so it's once a week. And all I do is talk about the projects I have going on there. And it's all it is two Jewish guys complaining for a couple of hours.
Well, I'm going to add that to my playlist.
If you want to learn things about my family, welcome aboard. And then you can always find out what's happening with me on Twitter. And then I have a website, I think, that has my club dates from 1987.
Yeah, I saw it. Was it andykindler.com?
Andy Kindler, but don't go there that much.
Okay, I won't.
And by Andy Kindler, my Instagram is Andy Kindler Superstar. My wife came up with that. I'm very happy about it. And I can't believe it wasn't taken. It's the generation I'm from where I learned about Jesus, Christianity through that play.
Right. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. It's always so fun to talk to you. This
was really fun. See, now in this case, I felt like the Zoom helped us.
I do think so too. Yeah.
So let's invest in this or something.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you.
You too.